All right, so Tesla, huh? It's been a wild ride with them lately.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing like a 42% drop in their stock just this year alone.
Wow.
And then you look at I don't know, one of their rivals, BYD out of China,
Uh,
they've surged like 47% in the same time period.
yeah, it's pretty amazing.
And you know, Elon keeps giving us all these like really attention-grabbing headlines.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Tesla on fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know what's interesting to me is that despite this huge stock drop and all the negative press that's been going around,
Uh-huh.
Elon Musk, recently gave a speech to his employees and it was broadcast on X and it was very, very optimistic.
Yeah. And that's actually exactly what I thought we could dive into today.
Okay, cool.
I was looking at some of the stuff he was saying in that address,
Uh,
and I think it'd be interesting to explore it.
yeah.
There's obviously a pretty big gap between how the market is reacting and this big picture vision that he's laying out.
Right, yeah. And he's telling his employees, like, hang on to your stock,
Right.
despite everything that's going on. So,
Yeah. So I think the real question here is like, what is he basing his confidence on?
yeah.
Like, what are the fundamental aspects of his vision that are making him so optimistic?
Right. And how is he, directly acknowledging this current situation? Because he's not trying to, pretend that the negative news doesn't exist.
No, definitely not. I mean, he actually addressed it head on.
Okay.
He said things like, if you just read the news, it feels like Armageddon.
Yeah.
I think he even said something like, I can't walk past a TV without seeing a Tesla on fire.
Oh, wow.
He even made a bit of a joke about it. He said, look, I understand if you don't want to buy the product, you don't have to burn it down.
Hmm.
That's a little unreasonable.
Right. Right. So it's almost like he's trying to lighten the mood, but he's also acknowledging, like, this is serious.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
But he also pointed to some things that maybe paint a different picture.
Right. He specifically mentioned Kathy Wood and ARK Invest,
Okay.
highlighting that, she does see the future and that Tesla is still the largest holding in her ARK Innovation ETF.
Interesting.
It's an interesting tactic he's using there.
Yeah.
He's sort of using the continued faith of a prominent investor
Right.
who's known for supporting disruptive technologies as a counterpoint to the more negative sentiment that's out there.
And this isn't just about market analysts and investors. It seems like there's almost a political dimension to Tesla's stock performance these days, based on some of the stuff you shared with me.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we saw Minnesota Governor Tim Walz
Okay.
publicly expressing satisfaction with the stock decline.
Wow.
And conversely, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick encouraged investors to buy Tesla stock.
Hmm.
Even on the same day, his former firm upgraded its rating on Tesla.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, this really just sort of underscores how market perceptions can get caught up in these broader political narratives and agendas.
Right. Yeah, and it's a good reminder that stock prices are not always just, a direct reflection of how a company is actually doing.
Right.
There's so many factors that influence these things.
Yeah, and Musk seems to be, actively trying to downplay the importance of these short-term fluctuations.
Yeah.
He brought up Warren Buffett's analogy, where he compares the stock market to people yelling out the price of your house.
Right.
And Musk even added his own little spin on it. He said, and sometimes they take their meds and sometimes they don't.
Oh, gosh.
So he's basically saying, the daily movements in stock price are often driven by, short-term sentiment and speculation.
Right.
Rather than, a fundamental reevaluation of what Tesla's long-term value and potential really is.
So his message is kind of like tune out the noise and just look at what we're actually doing.
Yeah, exactly. Focus on the progress.
And he did talk about current performance and some pretty ambitious goals for the near future.
Right. He did. He made a really confident prediction about the Model Y.
Okay.
He said it's going to become the world's best-selling vehicle this year.
Wow.
That's a very concrete and measurable goal that he's putting out there.
Yeah, and of course, we can't talk about Tesla without talking about autonomous driving. He talked about the advancements in their full self-driving capability.
Right, FSD. Yeah, he really emphasized the progress there.
Yeah.
He said that even the cars rolling off the production line in Fremont,
Okay.
they can now navigate autonomously to a designated parking spot where they await delivery.
Hmm.
And he also said that FSD is ultimately going to be 10 times safer than human drivers.
That's a big claim.
Yeah, it is. And it's important to remember that,
Yeah.
the most recent testing data that we have from California
Yeah.
shows that human intervention is still required on average about once every 13 miles.
Yeah, that seems like a big gap.
Yeah, and I think it's important to understand that
Yeah.
that data often reflects situations where the AI is encountering scenarios that it can't handle reliably, yet, unexpected things, complex intersections, unclear road markings.
Right, so it's not quite there yet.
Right, it highlights the distance between the goal and where the technology is right now.
Okay, so it seems like, while there are some near-term targets like the Model Y sales and the improvements in FSD,
Uh-huh.
Musk is really banking on something much bigger for his long-term optimism. He keeps talking about this concept of sustainable abundance.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it? It's how he's envisioning the future.
Yeah.
He asks, how about a future where you can have any good or service you want at will?
Wow.
And his answer is, that will indeed be the case.
Mm,
He's talking about this future of sustainable abundance,
yeah.
where resources and the ability to produce goods and services are so advanced and so efficient that they're just readily available to everyone.
So how does Tesla, a company primarily known for electric vehicles, actually get us to this, utopian-sounding future?
Well, according to Musk, the key is the connection between their advancement in robotics, specifically the Optimus humanoid robots,
Okay.
and sustainable energy solutions like solar power. He believes that these two areas working together are going to revolutionize productivity and the availability of resources.
Let's talk about those Optimus robots for a second, because Musk seems to be putting a lot of faith in their potential.
He really is. He set some incredibly ambitious production targets.
Like what?
5,000 robots are supposed to be produced this year,
Okay.
followed by a huge jump to 50,000 next year.
Wow.
He even called them 10 legions,
Oh, gosh.
making that historical military analogy.
Yeah, yeah.
And he even said that Tesla employees will get the first chance to buy these robots.
Wow.
It's a massive ramp up in production that he's forecasting.
Yeah, and he's given some pretty specific examples of what these robots would actually be capable of.
Right. He described the potential for, like a personal robot buddy that could do a whole bunch of everyday tasks like cleaning, mowing the lawn, walking the dog,
Mm-hmm.
helping teach kids, even babysitting. But I think the really important part is he also emphasized their ability to allow for limitless production of goods and services across industries.
So it's not just about having a little helper robot at home. It's about changing how we make and distribute things on a much larger scale.
Exactly. And this is where we get to Musk's most audacious prediction.
Okay.
He said that Tesla is in a unique position to develop and mass produce intelligent humanoid robots at scale.
Hmm.
And he went on to say that Optimus will be the biggest product of all time by far. Nothing will even be close. I think it'll be 10 times bigger than the next biggest product ever made.
10 times bigger than the biggest product ever made. That is a huge statement.
It is. He clearly sees Optimus as more than just a product. He sees it as the driving force behind Tesla's future,
Yeah.
potentially even overshadowing their electric vehicles and self-driving efforts.
Right. So while he acknowledges the problems they're facing right now with the stock price and the public perception,
Uh-huh.
his long-term vision is really rooted in the potential of these robots to bring about this era of sustainable abundance. Yeah.
And I think it's also important to note that, while those production numbers for Optimus are incredibly ambitious,
Yeah.
scaling up robotics manufacturing to that level is going to be really difficult. Other companies have struggled with it.
Right.
And it's interesting to compare Musk's timeline for FSD, with the more cautious predictions we're seeing from other companies in the autonomous driving field.
Okay, so just to kind of summarize for everyone, we've seen how Musk is handling the negative press
Yeah.
by really emphasizing the long-term potential and downplaying the importance of the short-term market volatility.
Right.
He's pointed to some near-term goals like the Model Y sales
Yeah,
and the advancements in FSD technology.
exactly.
But it's clear that his big vision really hinges on these Optimus robots as the key to creating this future of abundance and accessibility.
Yeah, you've got a much clearer picture now of the different narratives that are out there, the immediate challenges versus this really ambitious futuristic vision for Tesla.
Yeah, so here's something I want you to think about.
Okay.
Given how far along autonomous driving technology is right now,
Yep.
and the incredibly ambitious timeline for developing and producing and deploying thousands upon thousands of these humanoid robots,
Yeah.
what do you think are the biggest obstacles that Tesla is going to have to overcome to actually make this sustainable abundance happen?
Yeah.
And what are some specific things you're going to be watching for in the coming years to see how you're doing?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, me too.
A lot to consider.
Lots to consider.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll have to leave it there for today. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.